faster preparation in between games because Blue took a while to sit down even.
So Monte Cristo just talked about how he wants Akon to play a Maokai if he can get it, like a tanky top laner. Problem is, Maokai's been banned now by Samsung White in every single game, and they had no reason to stop banning it. Because again, on the side of Samsung Blue, they banned Zillion on blue side, they banned Alistar on blue side. 2 of the purple side bans, because they're so strong you should first pick them, opens up for Samsung White to ban whatever they want. They target Akon. Once again, his Rumble is gone, and his Maokai, the main tank pick for him.
It's really disappointing that Acorn hasn't put enough practice into Alistar to feel comfortable first picking it, because that is hurting their pick ban phase really heavily here. At least they react with the Jace pick.
They might first pick the Rengar here, seeing as they leave it open, and it's been such a problem for them. Spirit does play it, just not on the level of Dandy.
We actually see the confidence a bit of Dade saying, I want that Jace out. It is way too controlling overall in the game, and has been controlling Dade in that mid lane. Even when he was up, we saw Pawn finding his kills around the map. And guys, kind of called that one out there. That first pick Rengar coming out to Vishio. That will be now in the hands of Spirit, but Dandy can still wreak havoc with whatever he decides to go with. They're not forced to pick that jungler since they already see it. It's the Twitch Janna that they may be locking in.
Yep, and at least they can block the poke from Jace here because they have already banned it, so it's not as lethal as the early comps from Samsung White. At least they have banned or picked away what has been working for White, which is one of the most basic of strategies when you're trying to do things. And honestly, I do think it's time for Blue to go back to basics. They've tried to pull out the Varus and Galio and all these strange things and beat White at their own game. But what they really need to focus on when everything's really on the line is what got them here. Late game control.
Yes, and that's probably why Samsung White decided to not pick Ryze here. Because again, Akon is not a big Ryze player. I'm sure he can play, but if he wants to pull it out or not, we're gonna have to see here. But if Ryze is being picked for Dade in the mid lane, you don't have enough wave clear, safe wave clear like a Ziggs would have, like maybe a Xerath pick would have, to stall out the game. Ryze is gonna have to be pretty much in your face when people siege on you. You have to engage with the Ryze here because you got too short range. And that could be one of the reasons for White giving Ryze once again to Samsung Blue here. And obviously because they want the Twitch and Janna pick, and that's a Sona.
Sona's a champion they've been putting a lot of practice in. Of the supports I've talked to, she is actually unanimously pretty strong.
Yeah, she's kind of like just under the top tier support picks we've seen, like Nami, Janna, and Thresh, which we see most of the time. And she's extremely good against Janna in lane. Like in lane, she's so for Samsung White.
Face of Pawn right now, so calm as always. Hovers to Katarina, doesn't decide to actually pick it. He wants to know if that is actually the mid lane or if Acorn's going to be taking that to the top lane. So it looks like maybe in the Kassadin as well. Could be loopers. A lot of flex picks on both sides, or at least one, as it is going to be the Kassadin lock-in coming through.
Yeah, they don't know where it is. They can swing that wherever they want, honestly. And it will create some confusion as far as Blue having to finish up everything, not knowing really either of their complete lane opponents. But honestly, Blue should keep doing this. They should keep picking some heavy control champions. It would be a little surprising if they throw Acorn up on Ryze, but the control that Dade had on Twisted Fate in that Cloud9 game was really, really high.
Yeah, Twisted Fate is the most played champion for Dade in competitive play. Like, he's known for it as well. Like, he's so good in Twisted Fate. He can basically snowball every single lane in the game, which is what Samsung Blue kind of need to actually stop Samsung White for being so dominant in the early game.
Deft needs to be breaking out Corki. As Double has said, he's probably the best Corki anyone has seen in League of Legends history.
The reason he doesn't want to go Corki right here,
too much magic damage.
Yes, there's too much magic damage if he goes for the Corki pick, so it's kind of forced on Lucian now. When you had Ryze, you had Twisted Fate, even the Sona coming in.
Well, we do see Dade picking up that TF. He can now get around the map. That's kind of telling us he wants to feed those lanes even more. Pawn grabs the Fizz. We've seen a lot of lackluster Fizz play here. Can Pawn change that around?
If anyone's going to make it work, it's the guy who's been able to pick anything and succeed on it. We've seen his Katarina.
Yeah.
Now we get to see his Fizz, a double assassination comp, maybe just a full assassination comp if you count Twitch as an assassin here.
For sure.
White is going to try and play the same crazy, spread out, killing style.
Explosive mid.
But Blue has a bit more control this time.
This game right here is going to be decided by Dade on Twisted Fate.
Right.
Because Twisted Fate against pick comps is so good because he's so good at reacting to the picks being set up here. And first of all, with his ulti, he can see how many members are about to join the fight. And then obviously he can react in time, help out whatever member is being jumped, and quickly turn it around in favor of Samsung Blue here. So as long as Dade can survive the laning phase against the Fizz, which shouldn't be a problem for him, there's kill potential for Fizz, but Twisted Fate can always sit back and farm. Then he should be able to actually somewhat control the game. Just one player. But
well, let's see. Easier said than done,
yes,
for sure.
Exactly.
The teams are loading into the game 3. It's just about to get underway, so head over to Twitter once again and vote for the team you think will win. Send hashtag SSBWin or SSWWin to @LOL Esports. Don't forget the hashtag. We're going to be reading those later. And hopefully a big level 6 coming out of Blue here so they can make an impact where they've been trying to in that mid game. Because if they fall once again, I think this could be a quite quick 3-0.
That's the direction it's going, but we've seen 2-0 swap back the other way on numerous occasions. And if Blue can get their confidence back and wound the egos here of Samsung White, maybe they have a chance of coming back in this series, because when White starts rolling and playing with confidence, they look near unstoppable. Yeah, and the laning phase here, I mean, Ryze is having a fairly easy lane against Kassadin in a one-on-one, so that's going to be an easy lane for Akon to deal with. Bottom lane is heavily in favor of Samsung Blue, which means with the Twitch pick, there's a very high chance we see the lane swap from Samsung White, like we've seen actually in every single game so far with the lane swaps. Yeah, and I fear for Dade's laning phase against Pawn's Fizz. I've seen a lot of Fizzes just go off against TF and lane, especially if he gets a little bit of an edge, and especially since Pawn has had such an advantage over Dade this whole series. Yeah, it's all about the outplay potential here. If you go in with your Q on Fizz and you save your Trickster, your E, for when the gold card is being shot in the air from the Twisted Fate and you dodge it, then you have the all-in potential. There is Ghost Flash though, like we often see from Dade when he can. And that Ghost can be very important if Pawn wants to try like...
There'll be a lot of ultis used quite fast in this one. We've seen 3-minute dragon fights and even earlier skirmishes in the jungle. Samsung White did not come out good on the end of that second game skirmish, losing 1, but still coming out on top in the game. A very hard force to stop. And right now, putting everything on the plate. It's like they're coming into these with a roll of quarters in their fist for every fight here. And Blue's got to find a way to stop it.
Look at that early game positioning. It's like they're actually predicting that White is camping on their Blue and they're trying for a late counter invade, but it's not there. It's completely missed. And they will get spotted here by an outside ward.
But they should be able to get the 2v2 lane here. Samsung White can still send Twitch down in the bottom side and just fast push the lane. Now they do see Deft and Hard in the top side, and that's actually what they do. So in the current meta, you can pretty much guarantee a lane swap because you don't have to freeze the lane anymore necessarily. You can fast push it, have your members be on the bottom side of the map in this case, and still deny the enemy top laner all the farm. So that... Therefore, Samsung White, because they were around the mid lane, can just send Twitch down bottom side now.
Dangerous for Blue. They haven't been able to pull off this lane swap. They weren't able to match the lane swap. Possible amount of time.
They're going to get 3 buffed.
Yep.
Bata was already at the red buff here. They're running in.
Probably.
We might see an early fight here.
We may just see an early fight.
It depends if Imp decides to feint over there or if Pawn beats TF to the punch.
Well, the Ward Wars have definitely already gone down on this one. Red buff in the brush.
Wow.
The Hurricane. Wow.
What a great Janet Tornado. Right there.
Howling Gale, Hurricane, Tornado. Call it whatever you want. The point is, you knock up the Rengar, he cannot get the smite steal. Just to share with Hard down his bottom side. Let's see if he decides to do it. He's going back to base now. Instant teleport top.
I really feel like Blue is completely beaten out early on in the game here, and Acorn actually gets hit again.
That's going to be some big damage. The exhaust to stay in range. Oh my gosh, they actually pull off the kill as well. You can see the crowd is even stunned on that one.
What a burst of damage right there.
Yeah, there was the exhaust here, and there was no armor runes on Acorn because he obviously was against a Kassadin in lane against double AP, so there was no armor runes either.
And they didn't force the swaps properly, honestly. Acorn was trapped down bottom. They had the jungler there in case of some extra aggression. They ended up there with an extra support. They had sustain, but they ended up getting all in. Everything just came cascading down in the wrong direction for Blue here, and they're still not going to be able to manipulate these lanes right.
And just the worst possible start when you've just been so down because you've been absolutely destroyed in 2 games. We saw them after the game here. Everyone was just looking down the ground. And then you go in and you give first blood to Twitch the champion you banned in the last game. Nice play by Dade, and notice how he's actually holding on to the gold card, waiting for the jump, then he lands.
I mean, I'm just looking at this game before it happens, just team composition-wise. We already talked about it. Acorn would have had a lane advantage over Looper. Deft would have had a lane advantage over Imp, but what's ended up happening, actually, is Looper is in a better situation because he didn't die like Acorn did. Imp is in a better situation than Deft because he got a kill in the lane. And the mid lane, of course, is in the favor of Samsung White. So just like we've seen in all these other games, everyone on White is winning, even though the composition shouldn't dictate that necessarily happening.
Well, we already know you give White a bit of an advantage, and they will completely run with it. Heart level 2 here, can't do much to save Acorn. The damage already knocking Acorn out of lane. His flash is gone, so he has to walk away from these instants.
Janna shield from Mata onto a Twitch as well. I mean, you have so much damage on this Rise, so there's no armor in his runes. Let's see if Spirit, nope.
Good find coming in from Dandy there. Nice pressure towards the top lane. Deft is going to have to push out of that, and when Spirit thought he was safe, he wasn't.
Is so far ahead of Blue right now in mentality and in play. Blue is being read like a book right here. Everywhere they want to go, White is there first or they're countering. Kassadin, while he was getting his double golems taken, was able to help set up a kill with Dandy. Everything for White is working.
You got Dade trying to fuel people on TF. How much harder does it become when each of your lanes is behind as you're going to Destiny to them?
Yeah, that obviously is going to make it a lot harder, but Samsung Blue does have a nice setup for Twisted Fate because you have the crowd control from Sona, you have it from the Rise, so you have a lot of ways to lock down a target and then Dade can join in. But if every lane falls too far behind, Samsung White might even be able to like 2v3 them even if Twisted Fate comes down because every lane is so far ahead. And we just have to highlight the ward at the blue buff from Samsung White to see Deft and Hard going to top side, and therefore knowing we're not going to go top side with Twitch, we're going to send him bottom lane, was so important because it prevented the standard lanes, which would have been so heavily in favor of Samsung Blue.
On picking up 2 ability tomes as he goes back. It'll be very nice for him. Spirit clearing out a pink ward. He has one though. That's knowledge already to White that there is going to be a pink ward on their red buff. We'll see if Spirit can start to make some impacts. He's level 4 right now to Dandy's 5, who already has himself a kill, already on that stone to stay healthy in the jungle. He's actually waiting here. He thinks he's going to see something. They're playing very safe even with this lead. 700 gold, 2 kills, 7.5 minutes.
And for Blue, they need to be able to switch to defensive mode and really pick their spots. And they still have a few options to pick the right spots. When Spirit hits level 6, Dade can try and combo a gank. That's kind of the Samsung Blue special that got them so far and made Dade's Twisted Fate a little bit feared as well in so many situations. It's just with the vision control of White, they're trying to block both the river and also the own jungle of Blue. And since Spirit already used a sweeper, got warded again, there's actually no way for Dade to gank bottom lane with the ward coverage of White right now.
No, and you constantly see them ward very far in here around the camps as well, so they can always spot Spirit before he even gets to pop his ult and forcing him to lane gank if he wants to go for any kind of gank because his jungle is deep warded from the start here. There's some good waves there from Samsung Blue, which they can use to kind of sit back and chill, but if you fall too far behind, you're just going to get dove.
We see Dade there wild-carding the warded brush instead of allowing Looper to just sit there, lose experience. Dade says, yeah, you're alerted, you're sitting on a ward, so he's just giving knowledge right now to White. A little bit on edge here. On, got 70 to 60 in that lane, not a huge discrepancy, but it is going to be Blue over to Pawn now. We may see some action at that Dragon Pit.
Yeah, and that's where White has kind of made their mark in these previous games. It's either right before the Dragon fight or at the Dragon fight. They've come ahead of Samsung Blue time and time again. Maybe it's a moment where Blue just gives it up or goes aggressive themselves before any of that happens.
Yeah, they have to set up a pick first and then go for it. They cannot risk starting up the Dragon, take damage from the Dragon, and then the triple assassination from Samsung White comes in, and the chase potential when you have a Kassadin as well if the fight goes wrong for Samsung Blue. Lose that fight, get a few kills on Fizz and Kassadin, and the game is over. So I feel like they have to go for a pick first if they want to start Dragon. Blue.
Have to consider now White is alert of that window where Dade can use his destiny and get a play for the rest of the team. Right now they're all quite pushed up, so it doesn't look like much can be used from that at this point. 9.5 minutes in. We're going to see Blue trying to do what they can to continue feeding Def these resources. Spirit's here to try and do that already.
Yeah, and Samsung Blue is really going back to what used to work for them. A lot of defensive pink wards as well. Look at the 3 pink wards they have here. Dada is actually standing on one of them, simply to make sure you can use the Twisted Fate. Here's the ulti coming in.
Doesn't matter if the lane is pushed. It's going to be a big hit, and they are going to take down Imp. They are going to drop Mata. Looper comes down very late on this one, but safety to get himself out of that one. And Blue tries to make the first move here as they go 6, and they go hard.
For pretty much the first time this series, Blue makes a move that can't be countered by Samsung White. That's the magic of the Twisted Fate plus Rengar. They appear on top of the turret. White is not safe, and now they push for more. 5-minute Dragon against 3 of Samsung White.
Exactly what we talked about here. Samsung Blue had to set up the pick first.
They want to steal.
Let's see what they can do.
Oh! The Prince of Thieves comes up once again, kicks away, almost to safety. That's a kill going over to Spirit, but Looper's finalized himself 1, 2, possibly 3 with one more rift. No, he's just going to get the triple kill off an easy Q. It does not look good right now for Acorn. He's going to be falling from the tree. Possible quadra kill. Pawn's going to pick one up for himself. Beautiful job at Dragon.
And once again, Blue reaches a little bit too far. The Dragon Seal was just the icing on the cake because when White collapsed on that Dragon Pit, there was no hope for Blue. They burned everything during their initial turret dive, and they had nothing left when the fight happened.
Let's just rewind a little bit. We're just going to see the fight again. This is 3 members from Samsung White. Dandy gets the steal. We've seen it so many times back in OGN as well. And then the Kassadin here can just start cleaning up kills. Dada goes down first, flash in with the E, and meanwhile, Mata rejoins, and now the Kassadin chase just starts. And
it's too much. I mean, they were low on mana, they did not have ultimates, and White was there to collapse. Blue could have been happy getting the kills and getting out of there.
Yeah,
very true.
That's what Blue needed to do in any of the games this series, is make it to 20 minutes without losing the game.
But you also have to look at it from Samsung Blue's point of view. Everything has gone wrong for 2 games in a row. The whole idea was we pink ward our own jungle, so Twisted Fate and Rengar can get in for the gank. We get the kills, we take the dragon, we go back to laning phase, and we relax. We get into late game here, we slow down the game. That was the whole idea. The problem was, as we also mentioned, as soon as this dragon fight goes wrong,
a lot goes wrong.
A lot goes wrong because Kassadin and Fizz, they get the kills. Dada is like, I have to snowball now, and he buys a Soul Stealer.
And every time we see Blue come into these games, they want to skirmish. They don't bring the exhaust. Mata and Dandy calling the battle orders, doing so well, and Mata brings the exhaust out to shut anybody that it's there going to make an impact.
Yeah, the fallout from that dragon fight is still echoing here. I mean, Looper
at this point, White will grab a turret off of this if they even choose to. Even the lanes going is a little bit of what's getting them their kills. We see Blue trying to push down on the bottom lane now as White will answer with the drop on top.
Bit of a race.
Dade getting hit up. He could just get Howling Gales right out of a Destiny. Why he's not trying to get out of this one. He's able to walk out. He has wards on the backside to stay safe there. And he's also giving a little bit of pressure relief here to the bottom lane so they can make an impact. But not much of an impact because they don't have too many forward wards to stay safe for too long on the side of White. See what they can do with the rest of this. We see Spirit actually behind as well. A kill to himself, but he does go for the Moby boots again. We've been seeing it on Rengar's. Still trying to make plays, and making plays indeed. That's the pop-up. Here comes the Expunge, locks it down, and the poison, along with all the damage, enough to take Dade down. He just got back from base.
Yeah, but when you lose your mid tower so early, it simply opens up for the other team to get in, place a few deep wards. We can see it from Samsung White here on the minimap in the jungle of Samsung Blue. And then just start setting up these picks. You're never safe anymore because they can see pretty much the entire map. And if you find a Twisted Fate standing in mid lane alone, you go for the kill.
Yeah, and White's just going to keep going here. They're walking right over wards, and Blue has to give up position because we know how strong Dandy and the rest of White is right now. I just see Blue being in total desperation mode right now and not having the items to fight. But here they go.
The Destiny goes, so Vision is everywhere they need it to. Spirit solo heart! just as low in a matter of seconds. A double kill coming in for Pawn. It doesn't matter what he's on. The team's ready and willing to continue the kills. There we get another one going over to Dandy, and the obliteration begins once again. Now we're only 15 minutes in. It's a 6,000 gold lead as they hit 20K.
Yeah.
And you can see Spirit,
he looks
dejected at this point.
Completely defeated. They looked a little bit defeated before the game, and they had that glimmer of hope when they pulled off the Twisted Fate Rengar gank, but they only get pretty much one positive play in this entirety of the semifinal series, and this was just a poor decision from the start.
Yeah, they're going, I mean, Rise is not there, so it's actually a 4v4, but they're already so far behind. Instantly, 2 members goes down. Tricks are coming in, hitting both of them, and just, once again, watch you drop low. Kassadin and Elise is never gonna let you get away, so they can just keep chasing these kills. And this has to be one of the most one-sided series I have seen.
Which is remarkable, because Blue has so consistently controlled Samsung White in best-of-5 series. 2 seasons of champions in a row, they defeat them in the semifinal. And what the ultimate revenge for Samsung White, to destroy them probably 3-0 at Worlds. It has to feel amazing for them right now, but honestly, pretty devastating for Blue as well.
We say these teams aren't sister teams, but it's like Blue is trying to replicate the battle strategies of White. That mid game was not what they played throughout the season, and it seems to really be hurting them as that's been their focus in 3 straight games.
Yeah, they're just getting completely outplayed, and I think for me, we have talked about it before, the pick and ban phase. Now
wow!
Nobody's
But the pick and ban phase, the last 2 times these teams faced each other, has actually been in favor of Samsung Blue. They're normally very fast at adapting to like new picks.
Absolutely.
Summer semifinal, it was a Maokai pick for Akon, which was a huge deal. Samsung White had to ban it like in every single game after losing to it. But now we've been on the same patch for such a long time, doing Worlds, and it just seems like Samsung White has the edge in Champ Select. Samsung Blue no longer has that advantage.
White has every edge. They can ban whatever they want. They can play whatever they want. Obviously, I mean, they played so many different strategies. Pawn's champion pool is like an ocean at this point. I haven't seen him bad on any single champion, which is crazy because when he kind of first switched over to White, he was this defensive Orianna Ziggs player that
all the time.
Obviously, he had a few standout moments where he'd get the solo kills, but everyone saw him as this defensive player. Now I look at this player, and he is just this remarkably ambitious, versatile, agile player that can do anything the team requires.
And that is really the funny thing, because before he joined the Samsung team, he was known as a Fizz main, like a Fizz god actually. When he was playing on like amateur teams, and then he joined, got on the Samsung Blue lineup here, in this case after the swap as well, and it was kind of like, okay, you're gonna play utility-based mid laners. But he's always been an assassin player, and now he's really getting to play during Worlds, and he's just shining on it.
Absolutely back on point. Now giving Spirit a little bit of hell in his own jungle. We can see that Hart really can't even reply to this. Gets him right out. Not even going to help that Spirit tries to throw on the ulti. Not enough time there, and they have Hart on the run as well. Looper's just drawing in more of a fight here. They have a full team of White coming behind them. Hart's just running, trying to get out. He's not going to solidify that kill onto Looper. He's way too tanky with the Rod of Ages already charged up. And that's one thing that Blue is as well, is trying to charge up a lot of items that they're not going to have time to charge up now.
You know, we saw the first and the second game, and White was basically getting 1 kill per minute. The fact that they've been able to keep this up for every single game in this series.
Crazy.
It is so crazy how good they are in this matchup, how well they've prepared, and the domination that they have shown in this. I mean, for all the build-up, all the 3-2 White, 3-2 Blue, this series could go either way. White is just rewriting the book of this matchup between these two teams.
And just look at how they changed their picks. Assassin's mid lane. Even Looper is playing like Assassin champions with their Carly in game 1, with the Kassadin in this game here. He normally plays like the utility tank top laners. So Samsung White before
This is ugly.
I mean, yeah, they're just going to keep killing us left and right.
2v1 right now. Doing what he wants. Dandy going where he pleases. The cripple hits. He's going to have the connection. The Howling Gale will pop him up. There's the Zephyr, the exhaust, and Pawn just plops right down for another kill.
One of the biggest stomps of all of Worlds.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much counting group stage. The gold lead at the end of game 1 was the largest gold lead in all of Worlds. If we were to track through the history of League of Legends at best of 5s, the accumulated kill death score and the total gold lead of that series, I doubt you'd find one worse than this one.
Absolutely.
And it's in the semifinals of Worlds. It is miraculous what White is doing right now.
And it's crazy how it got almost earlier and earlier each game. Now 19 minutes for the inhibitor. It only took them a few more minutes than the first game to close out number 2, but it looks like they're going for some bit of a record here in a best of 3 series, not wanting to go 5 games. We still see Def trying to push. Spirit getting caught out once again. You're up, you're down. There's almost no time to have on the Rift right now for Blue, as they are just getting taken out every time they are on top of a ward or scene. Still damage from Looper, or rather Def. He's not going to get these kills just to hop away from Looper, and he's still drawing the attention. Oh,
here comes Pawn.
Here comes Pawn indeed. There's the damage. He's going to be able to lock this one down. Relentless Pursuit was already used. The catch-up is there. Heart goes down on the other side of the map as well, and things are getting a little out of hand at this point. 23-3, 20 minutes in with an 11,000 gold lead.
This is one of those games where Blue knows it's the last game before they're eliminated for Worlds, so they don't want to give up, and everyone is trying to make a play, but it is just leading to disaster right now.
I feel so bad for Dade. I mean, Worlds last year, it looked so good going into Worlds. Disappointing performance by everyone, by himself. Now, once again, they looked extremely good coming in. They were the #1 seed from Korea. He got MVP in the spring when they won the whole thing, got to the final again.
Step up.
And now, they're at Worlds, and they're just getting completely destroyed. That guy is not meant to win Worlds.
I mean, they're losing to a team that is playing so remarkably well in pretty much every single position. I mean, we talk about the way that Samsung White generally operates. It's Dandy and Mata placing the wards and making the plays with 2 defensive solo laners, generally speaking.
Yes.
But they have been unleashed in this semi-final. Pawn and Looper are just doing stuff on their own, and this team is an unstoppable force right now.
And that is exactly why Samsung White in the past haven't been able to close the games fast enough against Samsung Blue, because they had the more passive solo laners at that time. But now when you just give them these assassin picks and you get this lead early on, which we have seen them have before against Samsung Blue, they can just completely snowball it out of control and give Blue no chance.
Snowball out of control indeed. It's rolling down the hill quite fast. Fish goes out. Acorn gets chomped on that one. And it looks like Dade will also fall. Spirits in the eyes of Pawn right now, missing the bola. But it looks like it's not going to matter. We see Heart going down the other side of the map. It's going to be another clean ace if they catch up to Spirit. They have all the time in the world to work on these inhibitor turrets. Actually, on the Nexus turrets right now.
This might be it right now.
With game, we saw them
going to the finals right now.
Huge, 28-3, 22 minutes in. Are they really going to knock it down right now? The quickest in this best of 5 series, and they do not hesitate to drop the Nexus. It's only going to take 3. Samsung White finally defeats Samsung Blue.
And in such a remarkable fashion.